Welcome to the Jungle Brothers podcast. I'm your host, Joey, and today Paulie and I are joined by an OG of the Jungle Brothers tribe. Danny Clayton returns to the jungle. We talk about Danny coming back from a back injury. He stepped into our gym with a broken spine many years ago and he left as a physical specimen. We talk about his life in media and how he manages having a busy social life and some kind of consistent training schedule. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Catch you on the inside. Before we jump into today's episode, I wanted to let you know about our upcoming Coaches Intensive. This 2-day workshop is for anyone who wants to become world-class as a fitness professional. In the course, you'll learn the key skill sets needed to excel in fitness, as well as how to build a successful fitness business. Over the 2 days, we explore topics such as leadership, programming, sales, marketing, public speaking, and more. There are no prerequisites to enroll in the workshop, so whether you're a gym owner, a coach, or simply somebody who's considering a transition into fitness at some point, this course is for you. The next Coaches Intensive is on June 18 and 19, right here at Jungle Brothers Strength and Movement in Botany, Sydney. To enroll, go to junglealliance.com/courses and select the June event. As a listener of the show, you also get a sweet discount when you use the code JBPodcast at checkout. I've also popped a link to the event right here in the show notes. I look forward to working with you in our next Coaches Intensive. Now, back to the episode. You know, you've been on my shortlist for a long time. Hello?
See, I want to know who else was in that shortlist. Like,
Shona was on the list?
Yeah, naturally. But like, you know, it's like, oh my, yeah, the guy down the road. Like, yeah, my mum's second cousin, twice removed.
No, it's a cool list. It's a super cool list. It doesn't necessarily mean that every person on there is extremely famous and hard to get a hold of, right?
Yeah.
But it was when I sat down, who do I want to speak to? So I'll give you a couple of examples. You're on it. Ido Portal is on it.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Bumstead, current classic Olympia. Like, Mr. I don't know if you follow him on Instagram. Guy's got the fucking sickest rig out there.
Yeah.
I'll never get him on.
Sitting here.
He's the current day Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, I'll never get him on. But but then also like I was telling you about before, my old client Alan Thompson, the DJ.
Yep.
Which I just sent him a text. He's like, yeah, when do you want to do it? Like, it wasn't a hard one to organize.
Yep.
But I don't. In the past, we haven't sat down and thought like, who would we really like to get on the show? And a lot of what that is like looking at the people that we know and thinking, man, there's some really cool conversations to be had with people that are close to us. You're a member of our gym for a long time. Almost because of that, it was never seemed logical to invite you onto the show because we saw you in class all the time.
Well, yeah, I'm offended. I'm going to say it. I think this is absolute crap that it's taken this long. And I'm going to reflect that attitude in our chat.
It's the hero's journey.
Yeah.
And today you're the hero of the story, Daddy.
Is this the introduction?
Yeah.
Did he just come in like hard? Like this was strong. Like I expected something like, "Hey, this is me, Joe, and welcome to the Jungle Brothers podcast." But no, you just straight into it.
Well, sometimes you get the best shit, you know,
straight off the bat, yeah.
Without telling people, I can't press and record now.
Yeah, cool.
Paul knows that. I've recorded big time domestic disputes between him and Tiora. I got like 20 minutes of it. Don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. It hasn't been published.
Yeah.
One day it's going to emerge.
Nice.
And I'll fucking rock the internet.
There you go. I don't even care anymore.
Like, that's your hero's journey.
Yeah. We used to, but now it's just, there's so much stuff out there and I've got no regrets.
No regrets.
I haven't slipped up yet. I'm not big enough to cancel yet. You can't cancel something that's not a headline.
Oh, man. I think back at some of the early jokes and content and footage and things that
Never
I did
do it again.
On air.
No.
And I'm like, thank God the internet wasn't as strong. The vice-like grip of the internet wasn't around during those things. Like when we said something stupid, it would go live on television and then just disappear in the ether. I definitely would be cancelled by now. But we live, we learn.
Well, what is that? Is it, with the cancel culture thing, is it the case that like they can only cancel so many people at once? And so like if you look deep enough on anyone who has a public profile and is in media, you're going to find them saying some stupid shit.
Yep.
There has to be, right? But there's always someone, like you're hoping that there's always someone who's saying more stupid shit than you, so the spotlight's not on you?
I think that there is a limitless amount of room in media for cancellation. You know, just because one person is being cancelled doesn't mean you're safe. But look, I think that sometimes getting in a pre-cancellation, being like, hey, by the way, guys, I did say this one thing when I was really young and I don't mean it. Bo Berman actually does an amazing song called Problematic.
Who is that?
Bo Berman is a absolutely sensational comedian / musician who did a show called Inside, where during the pandemic he went into a room and recorded a Netflix special of just him recording songs and doing comedy as he slowly sinks into a downward spiral of mental agony. Like he has a mental breakdown during this special, and it's
The special is over like weeks, months.
yeah, and it's him coming, like putting all this stuff together, but it's a really great exploration of the human mind. And he was a comedian who started getting panic attacks while he was performing on stage, and so he decided to step away from the stage, get better. And then just as he felt ready to step back on stage, global pandemic. And so, you know, to keep himself busy, he locked himself in a room and did this incredible special. And it is sensational. It is absolutely incredible. But one of the songs that stands out for me is a song about him being a white, 30-year-old American man who has a problematic past, and he wrote some jokes and he thought things were funny when he was young, but times have changed and he's learnt from then. And yeah, I mean, God knows I made some dumb jokes, and I'm quite happy now to say, like, I remember when I was first on air, I'd just come out of school. I was fresh from school. I was 16 when I started working on television, and I went to an all-boys Catholic school. So if I was referring to something that was bad, I'd go, oh, yeah, it's so gay. And, like, considering where I'm at now, like, I pretty much work at every single, gay and lesbian Mardi Gras. I mean, I'm a Kinsey 5 at least. And I've pashed more dudes than you can count on two hands. But I mean, at the time I used to like, oh yeah, man, that's so gay. Oh, that's gay. And I remember one of my producers was like, Danny, you can't do that. And Yumi Steins, when I said it on air once, she's like, what do you mean by that, Danny? You said that that's gay. And I'm like, oh, I meant that it's bad. And she goes, oh, do you mean that being gay is bad? I'm like, no. And she grilled me on television to clear this up. And I'm like, I can't believe this is happening to me. And the next day, because we're on this tour around Australia doing these live shows, there was a guy who was, up on stage being flamboyant and kind of to really draw my line in the sand so that people knew where I stood on the topic. I pashed him on air. And so I kissed some guy, but I was like, all right, just so we all know that, like, that's where I stand on the subject. But, like, if people were to take all those remarks that I said when I was a kid and take them out of context, I'd look like a full-blown homophobe. But
it wasn't just the Catholic schools, dude. It was the slang.
It was the slang.
That I'm not saying that it was right.
Still there in the programming.
Yeah.
Still might think, gay. And then you're like, but then your rational mind's like, no, you can't say that, and you replace it, and and then you ponder it for a while. But it's so instinctive.
Yeah,
just as a word.
This is quite funny. I've had motorcycle. I was talking about this last night. I was talking to someone about my motorcycle, and I said that I thought that the engine was retarded, and I'm like, yeah, I think the engine's retarded, and this girl lost her mind. She's like, you can't say that. That's disgusting. That's a disgusting word. I'm like, it's a mechanical term. Like the mechanical terminology for an engine that's running slow is the engine's retarded. Like that's what the definition.
Oh, that's
Is that actually it's
in
literal?
the dictionary? That's the literal meaning. It has nothing to do with mental health. It's been appropriated as like an insult in, to suggest that someone's got
Broken.
mental like
Disability.
disability.
Yep.
But on a mechanical term, if you were to go Google it in the Webster Dictionary or whatever, a retarded engine is like something it's slow. It's not working correctly.
Sure.
And this girl, like, she was just like clearly like a young, very I hate using the term
Lefty.
yeah, someone who's very like socially minded. And she was just like, spitting with anger, and I'm like, whoa.
So that's the problem. Is like, if someone like that type of attitude towards it, where it's just anger, and they want to put a spotlight on how wrong it is and what you've done, before, trying to without trying to talk to you about what's wrong about that or solve it. It's just like, I just want to burn you at a stake before anything else, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean. Anyways,
I know I'm going to get cancelled, probably.
Soon.
At some point, I'm going to say something stupid, or I'm going to do something online, and then I'm going to get cancelled, and then I'm going to be like, "Look, that's not what I'm about. I swear." And then there's going to be some long, drawn out explanation, and I think that's kind of where we're at. It seems like the process is set in stone. Someone does something, they apologize, they have to kind of make amends for their
public apology,
their public crimes. They have to make like an apology, and then the same thing will just happen over and over again.
But then you get to have a comeback.
Yeah, true.
It's also when you know you've made it.
Yeah.
When you become the target of that.
Obviously, some people should be cancelled. There's people out there saying some bad
Putin.
shit. Or
Putin
doing
should be
stuff,
cancelled. Get rid of him. God, yeah. There's a long list of people that should be cancelled. They never do. I think the people that end up pissing off enough people. Here's the thing, and something I've learned from a lifetime in media, is that public outrage is financially valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone says something controversial and completely offensive and wrong, people will kick up a stink and they'll jump on it and they will yell and fight and try to attack this person, maybe online or on the radio. And that person, they will, number one, their profile all of a sudden gets all this free press and it will grow and grow and grow. But then secondly, there are people that will agree with the dumb thing that person says and go, no, I'm going to stand up for that person. And then
Alan Jones' whole shtick, right?
Yeah,
his whole career.
Or
Kyle, he's got that vibe.
Oh,
he's probably a friend of yours.
But Kyle's smart.
But I'm sure, they all are, right? Like, I think it's, you can look at those people like, they just, they're they're an idiot. That's not, like, how can they say that? Or, like, say when you hear racist undertones from these hardcore conservatives or whatever, they know exactly what they're doing, right? And they know that it gets engagement and it creates a bunch of negative energy, and that's what makes their business more successful.
100%.
Like, so there's some kind of smarts behind it, even though they're being a fuckwit at the time.
Completely. And here's something that I would like you all to start opening your eyes to, and that is media asking purposely incendiary questions and doing it just for clicks. So something that will be, and this could be something really, really arbitrary, and something as simple as, Vegemite, they'll post a picture of a slice of Vegemite and say, or they do those lists where they're like, jam is better than Vegemite. And like, this is obviously like the tamest way I can explain it, but like, they'll say something that will make people go, no, that's absolute bullshit. And climate change will be something that will pop up where a news publication will say something that is slightly misleading, but they know it's misleading and it's obviously misleading, but they'll do it to piss people off so they interact with the account and so that they generate traffic. And it's very transparent to anyone who has ever worked in media, and you see it all the time. But we are the ones that feed this behavior, because when you do get upset and you do go, oh my God, you guys suck, that's such bullshit, then it's worked. And if you go to news.com right now, there'll be a bunch of articles that are important. Like, this is what's happening overseas in the war in Ukraine. This is what's happening with the monkeypox. And there's like all these important, and littered in those news articles, there'll be something that, check out this Instagram model. She's wearing a really tiny bikini.
Oh, yeah.
And you do not click on any of those things. Or this girl didn't get let onto a flight because she was too scantily clad. What do you reckon? And we are creating that monster by clicking on those articles. And all the important stories are getting pushed lower down on the rank. And by us going, oh, God, and clicking on those things, we are creating a media monster. And that's what's happened in like America. They know that that Fox News style stories get more clicks and get more attention. So then that's why the Fox News monster gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so we need to be responsible for what we click on and what we feed, because if we want our media landscape to look like America's news media landscape, then by all means, click on the bikini article. Go see what that girl wore on the plane.
You know what's fascinating to me about those clickbait articles you see at the bottom of, like, typically it's, I can't remember how I start. It's usually like, yeah, you read an article, like Apple, your phone's like, oh, check this article out, and then you have a look, and then it's great, and you see those ones, and it's like, you'll never believe the acne cleared up, and say, oh my God, and it's always photos, right? And it's either something gross or something kind of sexual, or you know. But in some of the marketing work we've done, like studying with coaches over the years and understanding how to get better at that, one of the huge things that they've pushed is the idea of headlines. And if you look at you can get these lists of some of the best headlines in history, and these are headlines that were written by copywriters, marketing gurus of mid 20th century, right? So like 1950s, this was the guy. Anything this guy wrote that went in a magazine, everyone fucking ordered the thing. And it's like his top 100 headlines. They're the same fucking headlines that are on that clickbait shit.
Yep.
Like they have the same intrigue, and they give you the same desire to want to cut the form out of the magazine and send in your details.
Yeah.
You know, now you can click, but back then that's what it was.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny that like the game hasn't changed.
Oh, no.
Like, well, it's psychology. It's a psychology kind of thing. So the human mind hasn't evolved. It's still reptilian. So it's just playing on the same vulnerabilities that we all have. Exactly the same.
Did you say reptilian?
I think so.
Do you mean like primordial? Like,
yeah, that type of thing.
Like primate brain or
type of thing?
Well, there's a reptilian piece.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's an old brain.
Yeah.
It's
We're all
an old
lizard
brain.
people.
It's all software. Yeah.
Let's talk about David Icke.
But yeah, the clicking on of the things, it is causing a big problem.
Yep.
I don't think that we're three guys who really click on those things that feed that monster. Would you say?
No.
Right?
No.
Like I occasionally.
I do every now and again.
Yeah.
And then I do because I'm interested. I'm like,
yeah,
who actually clicks on this stuff? And am I going to see 27 different bikini photos that I won't believe? Or, you know, like, we go, okay, let's have a look at what's on there. And then you click it and you're like, this is the shittest webpage. And you're like, well, this photo sucks, but I've clicked it 10 times.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, like this gamification of attention and it's just like, it's amazing, like, because it is obviously worthwhile for whoever creates that shit to create it because it's there on these major websites. So then you think it's quite a scary thought that there's obviously heaps of people on it.
Here's something else that you should be mindful of in case you're not, but something that they also do. It's not just clicks. So if you click on a website, that's already like, oh, this is good. But it's also about how far you scroll. And so a lot of the time you'll get those things like, hey, here's 20, like even if it's something a little bit more like cool. So here's like 20 different photos of the biggest waves ever surfed. And that's something that appeals to me. I want to see these 20 waves. So you get to the website and you'll see the first one and then you'll have to scroll past all of these ads. And so you scroll further, and then you'll get the next one. And then they'll either clock up how far you've scrolled, and it could be a really long distance, and every time an ad passes on your browser, that's a way that they're getting revenue. The next is that here's 20 pictures of waves, and there'll be an arrow at the bottom. So that's 20... Slideshow. So you have to click, and then everything loads. Click, everything loads. And if you do find yourself in a situation, don't do that. Even if you want to see those 20 awesome waves, just Google big waves. Like, you're better off doing that. It's
an SEO trap, isn't it?
Again, like as you're saying, like our brains, our ancient brains are, we crave those dopamine hits, and they've hacked our brains using the most advanced technology that humanity has ever come up with, and we are feeding the beast, and also we are getting ourselves programmed to get dopamine off in this program, like the machines, which is a scary thing for humans, I think. Fuck, we got deep.
Tell me about your social media life. You still on Instagram and all that, I take it?
I am on social media. I do work with social media, but I like to try to keep it as organic and as upfront as possible. I'll do content for brands, and we'll shoot cool activations, and I'm just very upfront.
What's an activation?
An activation. So like the last big activation, the biggest this year would be with Red Bull. And so they did something called Fandom of the Opera, because they worked with Dom, hence the Fandom, Dom Tomaso, who is one of the world's best parkour athletes, free runners. He's just a weapon. And we went down to the Opera House, and he did all these flips and tumbles and like balancing on rails, falls all over the most iconic building in Australia. And I was nervous, not for Dom's health, but I was nervous that he was going to break a tile. I'm like, you're better off breaking your leg than literally denting a single thing on the Opera House, man. Like, I don't want to be you. Like, and yeah, there's this incredible shot where he gets to the top of the sails and he does this huge backflip with the Opera House, with the Sydney Harbour Bridge in the background. It was just so sensational to be a part of something like that. But, for me, like a lot of my social media stuff is just working with brands, creating cool content bits, but then I generally like to step away from it.
So you kind of set boundaries there in your actual, like in your private life, between I'm going to do some content type stuff now, whether it's not the work, right, where you're doing a creation for a brand, but your own stuff.
Yep.
If you're out with friends, are you like, okay, I'm not fucking around with the phone for the next couple of hours? Or what?
I'd love to say that's true, but no, I guess I share pretty regularly, but like, again, I try to see it as like, there's work sharing and then there's like play sharing. And I guess a lot of the stuff I do, like do a lot of festivals with my friends, and so we find ourselves sharing because we want to show everyone, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. And also becomes a way of like helping your friends get their music out. And I don't know, we've reached this point where it's like a blurry line where social media work and social media play is becoming the same thing. And yeah.
I think it's only work for a small few.
Yes.
Right? For the majority of folks, it's just recreational.
Yep.
Which, I say that, running a few Instagram accounts, 2 of them being business related.
Yep.
It's, I can justify, I got to spend 90 minutes on, Instagram today. Okay, I've got to get this done.
Yep.
Versus I've just been scrolling for 45 minutes because I'm tired.
The doom scroll.
Yeah, and I've not achieved anything in this last bit of time.
Yeah, I mean it's not good. I mean, I'm all for I love swimming and surfing, and that's something that I really like, that you can't take your phone out there. And because if I go for a run around Centennial,
forced abstinence.
Yeah, but like I'll go for a run around Centennial and I'll find myself like changing songs on Spotify and like making new playlists. And then while I'm doing that, like, oh, I've got some messages from my friends. I'm in the middle of a run and I'm using my phone. Like, this is bad. Like, it's nice having, if you're in the water and you're out surfing, it's like, I think no distractions.
You got an Apple Watch you're wearing?
Yeah,
you don't take that up when you're surfing?
I've got an Apple Watch to record my waves. It actually tracks.
No way.
Yeah, it tracks my waves.
Oh my God.
But I don't get messages or anything.
What time do you go surfing?
I mean, I go with my mate Harrison. He's a young whippersnapper who has an enthusiasm for life that I cannot be matched. So, but yeah, early afternoon, whenever the.
We'll try and send you a few text messages at those times.
Please don't. Yeah,
just to connect.
Right. As long as it's like, hey man, put your phone down. I'm like, yeah, cheers. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah.
So, dude, I haven't seen you in so long. What do you actually do? I know you caught up with Joe before the show, but what are you doing these days? Like your day-to-day, week-to-week? Because the last time I remember seeing you or having contact with you, you were on a show, a computer game show?
Oh, that was around the corner from where we're recording this right now. So I was recording a show with Red Bull.
Maybe I saw it on your Instagram or something, but it was a pilot
at
that stage. And I remember because I watched it with my kids.
Yeah, so... I mean, I do love gaming. I do work with gaming companies, but I mean, it's basically I'm just still hosting. Mm-hmm. So gun for hire these days. So I'll work with different brands, do a bunch of interviews with musicians, with actors. I was doing stuff with Yahoo and still do, and that's very fun. So I just sit down in a room and interview a band or actor or director for an hour. That's called Build. And
cool.
At the same time, like still DJing a lot. And
yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, cool.
Doing a music festival this year I'm really excited about called Snow Machine. And I asked the festival owner to build me a church and he's done it. And so he's built this church in New Zealand and I'm going to do this whole show dressed up as a priest. And
how dare you
get everyone to come to church and essentially
kneel at the altar.
Go for these weird 1 hour long raves, but then have everyone like take communion, which would just be like breadsticks, and drink the blood of Christ, which is just get everyone getting drunk on red wine, goon, just giving goon, and but yeah, we're putting on like a real weird show. There'll be naughty nuns and choir boys, and it's gonna be real fruity.
This is the one that's gonna cancel me for sure.
Definitely, I'm gonna get cancelled. But
you gotta be excited that like from what I can tell that within like the corporate world, it used to be kind of uptight and follow rules, and like you think about brands, big brand stuff, and it was all very like
stiff.
That's right. These days, we've all, probably because of the advent of social media and whatnot, there's now all this like, there's this room for entertainment. Like every brand needs to be telling a story and showing its culture and having fun in order to, bring the people. For someone like you, surely that's brought about a lot of opportunity just in cool fucking things like being in a church that you can have a rave party at.
Well, people want to have more fun. I mean, again, not far from where we are sitting right now, I did a job for Mini, the car, Mini Cooper, and they had a room full of people to see these new cars, and I got to drive into essentially like a warehouse space, do a little skid in front of this like room full of people, and had a mic in the car. So I started talking on the microphone barely before the car stopped sliding. And Owl Eyes, my friend Brooke, she's like a beautiful singer. She does a lot of stuff with flight facilities. We both got out of this car and we're having a chat to everyone, and then we jumped straight on the decks, and she started singing and I started DJing. And I just remember thinking, like, this is so weird. Like, this is kind of like my job. Like, doing a little handbrake spin into a warehouse in front of people and just
DJing.
talking crap on a mic and then DJing. I'm like, imagine trying to explain this to my dad. I'm like, this is my job, Dad. It's a serious job. Saving the world.
But I'm really good at it.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's fun now that everything's opening up again and people are getting a bit more adventurous and using all those budgets that they didn't spend during the pandemic to make really cool things. I mean, there's some stuff I really want to tell you about, but I can't. It's happening. But yeah, there's some big things on the horizon, which is cool.
You showed up today at the gym. Obviously, you've got an injury, and so you've come back. You're looking for some kind of free program, how to fix your injury. Tell us about that.
Well, he told me a bit about it, and the injury was weakness.
Yeah, it's just a bit weak.
Of the core and the...
Yeah,
pretty much top
of
to
the
bottom.
mind, yeah. Just a weakness of the spirit. Yeah. No, it was a very, very, very wet day. Someone pulled out in front of me in a car, and I was on a motorcycle. And so, locked up the brakes and had a slide, but it's okay. I fell perfectly. So I didn't really hurt myself too much. I just smacked my knee a bit and tore something in my shoulder. But because I've been at the jungle and the Jungle Brothers have rehabilitated so many injuries similar to this, I already know what to do, mate. We've gone through this before. Every other motorcycle accident or trampoline accident I've had, you've rehabilitated. So I think I've got the tools. I just came in to say hello. Yeah.
Can you tell us actually about that tramp accident? And,
Let's do it.
How we came to start training together in that whole piece?
Well, I mean, if you were going to make a promo out of a slice of audio, this would be it. I remember breaking my back at a trampoline park badly. I got to the hospital and the swelling got to a point that was so large that it started pushing the bone up against the sciatic nerve and it started blocking the signal, and I couldn't feel my toes. I couldn't feel my legs. And I asked the doctor if I'd be able to walk, and then the doctor said that they didn't think so. And at this point, they put me out, and I remember they gave me this drug. They're like, all right, we want you to count down from 10. And I'm like, 10? And I was unconscious. And when I woke up, I could wiggle my toes. It was great. But the doctor had this very serious conversation with me about my recovery. And he said that I would never be able to pick anything up, and that for the rest of my life, I would never be able to pick anything up. And I said, that's not something that's going to work with my life. And so I go, what's the heaviest? And he goes, look, with a lot of work, you'll be able to pick up a case of beer. And he goes, but for now, it's like never, don't pick anything up. And then I was doing a bunch of different therapies, and I remember coming here, and I remember having a conversation with you. And I said, the doctor told me not to pick anything up. And then he said, Joe, looked me in the eyes and he goes, okay, the first thing we're going to do is get you to pick some things up. And then I knew that I was in the right place. And it started with a broomstick. And I remember I was struggling to lift a broomstick off the ground. And then you put a kilo on it. And I struggled with that. And I worked my way up from a broomstick to a bar, and a bar with 5 kilos, 10 kilos, and it was just this gradual thing. And when I walked into the gym today, I was saying to Joe that you have these plates here, and it almost made me emotional seeing gym plates, because I've got the green ones, which is the baby boys, and then you got the yellow ones, which are the 15s. Then you've got the blue ones, which are the 20s. And
they're the same plates you lifted.
That's right.
The same plates that I lifted when I had this injury. And I just remember, graduating to yellow plates and then graduating to the red plates. Holy hell. The last big lift I did here was 150 kilos, which was much heavier than a case of beer. And I remember taking a photo. Joe took a photo of me doing a deadlift and it would have been like 110 kilos or something. And I went back to the same neuroscientist-y doctor man. And then, this therapist who'd been overseeing my case, and then I showed him this photo, and he said, look, whatever you've decided to do is the correct, we don't have any more advice or, clearly you've done the correct thing, and whatever you've done, you need to do this now for the rest of your life. And what he basically said is that I don't have a choice. Like, I have to work out and do weights now for the rest of my life or I'll get back pain, which is actually the only good thing he said. Everything else was absolute bullshit.
Was he the surgeon?
He was the guy who, because I had to get all these crazy scans, and like I got put in this full body brace, and I was on enough painkillers to kill a small horse every day. Because I think that's how they treated it. They treated it by strapping me up and medicating me, which is a terrible way to get better. And yeah, I remember going back to this guy who was in charge of my heroin. It was like my pharmaceutical heroin dealer. And yeah, I just went back and I was like, I lifted 110 kilos. And then he's like, okay, well, then you have to do this now forever. Because if you stop, your back will have issues. And, I've had some time, so I've been took a long time off training. And I'm like, oh, God, my back hurts. I'm like, oh, my gosh, the doctor was right. So, yeah, I do need to stick with it now. But I think that's a pretty good problem to have.
Was he making out that because you had embarked on this process of lifting weights, that because you did that, now you're going to have to do it forever, versus if you never did that, like I told you not to, you would never be any problems?
No. I just think that he's like, if you were to run your fingers down my spine right now, you can feel exactly where the vertebrae is busted.
Right.
But I basically have to keep all the muscles around that vertebrae really tight, strong. But he's suggesting that that I did the right thing. And he was like, this is great. But now
don't stop.
You don't stop now. You don't think that you've finished. Don't think that you're fully repaired.
Yeah.
You need to be consistent with this for the rest of your life.
So did he apologize for lying the first time?
No, because that would have made him totally responsible. I think that would have been an admittance of guilt.
Bastard.
I think he was quite shocked. And I never normally would have shown a picture of me lifting to someone. What a dick move from me. Hey, brah, check me lifting. But
you should try it, bruh.
Yeah. But I felt like it was important because I wanted him to take that in mind for anyone else that he saw that might be similar to me.
We talk about it a lot. It's such an important thing. Well, not an important thing, but it's the fact that you can go to a medical specialist and they can say, he can say to you, it's one thing to say, hey man, this injury has really damaged you, and you're probably going to have to play it safe with how you do things on this earth for the rest of your life.
Yep.
But, you can still do stuff, but just be careful. Don't lift super heavy things.
Yep.
Okay, that's good advice.
Yep.
But to say, you will never be able to lift a case of beer again.
Yep.
It's based on, my previous experience, based on the density of my muscle tissue now, or based on my, my neurology, because you understand it, all of it. It's one of those kind of, it's kind of like maxims that people will get from a doctor. And, if you were a different person, you would be like, fuck, that's it. That's me.
Well, it could have killed me. It could have, I could have been stagnant and become an endone junkie. But also, important thing to realize is that I hadn't had a huge amount of experience lifting weights anyway. Coming here...
You're a dweeb.
I was a dweeb. I used to surf, I used to run, but I didn't really have much muscle on me. And for a little while, I got jacked.
Yeah, you're doing ring dips and shit.
Yeah, I got swole for like a really small amount of time. But
I mean, by the end of it, you were sparring here, weren't you?
Yeah.
You're getting punched in the face, kicking people.
I went to Thailand. And then,
You did like a camp over there or something?
Yeah. I mean,
Holy shit.
I was like doing 6 hours of kickboxing every single day. It
Wow.
was sick. I got my ass kicked by Russians.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. But
I believe that's a rite of passage.
yeah, I mean, there
when
were
training
police
in Thailand.
officers. They sucked. There's this guy called Maxim who I still like have post-traumatic stress over. I used to have trouble sleeping because I was in the ring with this Russian police officer who used to kick my ass. Yeah, I mean, you prepared me for a lot, but you didn't prepare me for Maxim.
T had the same thing, didn't he, when he was there? He told that story. I don't know if it was Russians or Dutch, but
It was Dutch.
He got the shit kicked out of him.
That's right.
And he was going to come home. He called his dad and he's like, I can't handle this. And then he hero's journey.
Yeah.
Like, I've got to go back into the fire. And then
Sick.
Came in the next day, busted some skulls and won the day.
I would have paid money to see someone kick Tiора's ass. I just have such a tough time imagining it. Like, to me, like, he's Hercules. Like,
He's a hard guy to damage.
he's Tarzan. Like, I don't understand how someone could get past. Mind you, I punched T in the face. I got a video of that. I put it online.
Snuck one through.
We were just like doing gentle sparring, and I was just like
Demoing in front of the class. He's like, now's my chance.
just whack. What the 5 fingers say? I'm not doing it. But I did get a glove to his face, and I did like a freeze frame of my fist in Tiora's face. God, it made me so happy because I know that T could just destroy me. So you got to celebrate those small victories.
How'd you go all those years? You and T sparred together a lot, particularly in recent years before he went up north.
Yeah.
How would you did you feel like, could you hold your own well with him?
You never ever got 100%. And, I'm not obviously going 100% as well. I'm going closer to 100 than he ever was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is definitely holding back levels.
Layers.
Yeah, he could turn it on if he wanted to. And it's not just the capabilities, but it's I don't know how to explain it, but just the just how you can turn it up, whether it's aggression or it's a mindset. Like he could definitely,
intensity.
It's an intensity that he could turn up. So, you can eat things and walk through it and just keep coming forward. Like he could do that if he wanted in a heartbeat.
Yeah, like
I used to feel like I was hanging with him, but I'm sure that if I hit the right, and if I did hit the right button, or I started getting annoying and started finding a little thing, then he would turn it up.
Yeah, right.
For sure.
he definitely had that kind of demeanor of someone that was
Dark.
just calm. Like every time he sparred with me, he was very calm, and you knew that he had so much left. Like I would compare it to. I mean, I was saying this story before, but I remember doing some rolling, doing some jiu-jitsu-y stuff with T, and he'd just like go floppy, and I'd try to.
You sure that's called rolling?
Well, no, he would ragdoll, and I would try to like get into like a position where I could make him tap out, and he'd just do everything very slowly, and I found it infuriating. Yet when I ever had a roll with Joe would be like, go full on. I'm like, come on, bro, I'm a white belt. And he'd just be like, you just want to see me tap out. You just want to choke me out because you are an absolute menace. And a sadist.
Well, it's the one area where I can flex.
Yeah.
So I need to flex it.
Yeah, do it.
If
you can flex.
Happened this morning. Tom, is it Tom? Training with Dills?
Yeah.
He loves, lovely fella. Trains in here. Pretty strong dude. He always comes and cracks a joke, like at my expense, always something. You go, hey, good morning, how are you, man? And he's like, hey, like I was stretching. He's like, looking a bit tight. And I'm like,
Tom
I'm like, go on, Tom.
Yeah.
And but then I walked past him to put my gear away, and he like did the whoa, 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 whoa kind of thing. And so I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then next thing we're grappling.
That happens a lot around here. I'm guessing.
Next thing I'm on his back choking him out.
Oh my God, that's the most Joe story
Isn't
I've
it?
ever had. So anyway, we're having a conversation, and then all of a sudden we're just grappling.
I've got his back.
Cooled down a bit since getting my black belt, but it's really just ramped up.
Yeah, just like I feel like when I'm since I haven't been here, I haven't. It's been so long since I've trained the Jungle Brothers, center of excellence. And I just imagine that these days there'd just be spontaneous boxing fights and grappling just in the middle of sessions, even if they have nothing to do with like boxing. Like,
just lock eyes with someone.
Someone sees someone on the other side of the room and then just throw down. Oh, come on, let's go!
You want to get primal, bruh?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like a saloon in westerns. How gunfights just always just start happening. I imagine that, but just grappling instead.
Well, that is the beauty of combat training, isn't it? that it really does allow that sort of thing to play out. You know, like there's usually a formalized class, but you can kind of just be like, you can just engage in a tussle, whether it's striking or grappling, in a playful or maybe a less playful manner. Yeah. But you can't do that in other things. You can't do that. Like, unfortunately, we don't do shootouts out the front of the saloon anymore.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
God, I miss this place. I want to come back here and start fights with the trainers.
So what do you lift weights now?
I do. What I do right now is, so I do a lot of HIIT.
Fuck you, bro.
I know you'd be so angry with me.
Is it F45?
No. So I do... I go to a place called Air Locker where they suck all the oxygen out of the room, and then you train
at altitude.
Altitude. The reason why I was doing that is because there was a potential show that I was working on, and I can't really tell you too much about it because it's still in the works, but it's me doing something very, very, very what an elite athlete would do, and it's me doing it.
Right.
And
Everest.
It's at altitude.
Right.
And it's a concept where it's like putting a regular person in an extreme scenario and documenting that. And so and prior to doing it, I wanted to get a little bit of experience with altitude. Yep. So I've been doing this thing, Air Locker, and they suck the oxygen out. You do lots of weights, you do cardio, you do all this kind of stuff. And it's fun. And it works for me. It's easy. It's less like one of the things I loved about working out at the Jungle Brothers is that I would learn a lot, and I'd be armed with enough knowledge to take care of myself in a gym. But one of the things that you can't, take with you from the Jungle Brothers is the motivation and the kind of egging on and the culture that is here. And it's one thing I've really missed, because if I go train, being surrounded by gym bros, at Fitness First isn't going to do it for me. I'm not going to go, I'm going to try to lift more than that guy. But when I'm here, it's generally, one of you two being like, oh yeah, you want to chuck another plate on that bad boy? And then I'll go, yeah. And you go, do you think I can do it? And then one of you be like, yeah, I think just about. And like, you get that outside perspective. And you end up doing your best lifts because someone else can see something that you can't.
Or maybe it's I don't think you can do it.
Well, I mean, sometimes that's important too.
Yeah.
But because
I'll fucking show you.
I think that like you guys were always good at going like, oh, I don't think you can do it. I'm like, is it unsafe? Like, it's not unsafe. I just don't think you're going to be able to do it. And like, great, I'm going to give it a crack. And I'm like, proves you wrong, bruh. But then if it was unsafe, you'd be like, yeah, no, don't do that. I'd be like, no, I think I can do it. No. There are times when I say you can't do it, and you probably could. And then there are times when I'm saying, don't do it, you'll hurt yourself. And I think that you guys, the community here, was pretty good at finding that very thin line. And yeah, that's why I do miss working out here, but that's the training I'm doing. A lot of HIIT stuff.
Where's that joint? Where's Air Locker?
Bondi Junction. And yes, I do F45. I mean, it's easy.
Well, how many fucking HIIT studios do you need to go to?
Yeah, well, I don't pay for it. So I mean, the price is right, bitch.
Man, I didn't realize because there's another place, Combine Air, that I've seen, and they're trying to franchise. And I'm guessing there's this wave of altitude training studios coming from America.
Yep.
Air Locker must be American.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that in fitness in general, there is fads.
Unfortunately so.
There's fads. And, again, I didn't want this to be like a big old Jungle Brothers like compliment fest, but you guys are built on the foundations of training and, you know, the building blocks of what it takes to be a strong, healthy human. You know, mobility, strength, you know, and punching on. And these things will come and go. Like, I used to go to Orange Theory, and I'm happy to go on record to say that Orange Theory is so stupid. You know, they put those straps on you that you put on a watch.
A heart rate monitor.
Yeah, a heart rate monitor, and you have to stay in the red zone if you get splat points and you do all that stuff.
Is that what the orange refers to? Staying in
Orange Theory,
right?
And it's like, and it's based in, you know, in real stuff. But the thing is, that you train, but then you get onto like a treadmill, and then you sprint, and then you stay up in like a red zone or an orange zone, and then it tells you how many points you get. And that's just a dumb fad. I went there and I got tendonitis in my shins and knees because you put me on a running machine and then you tell me I have to stay in the red. I will sprint, right? But just because I'm doing that doesn't mean it's good for me. And here I am getting like shin splints because someone's left me to run on and like I should know better, but like it was just terrible. And so I went for a little while and I was like, yeah, this is kind of fun. But then I realized it wasn't good for me. And yeah, I mean, things like that come and go, becomes really popular, and then all of a sudden people will bail on it. And yeah, definitely altitude training is this current trend. And I think that people do want to test out what they're capable of doing at altitude. I mean, as I've already explained, I've got reasons that I'm doing it, but it's...
You're about to naked wrestle Tiora up the top of Everest for a TV show.
That's it. Man, I told you not to tell anybody. Oh, man, people would tune in for that, though, right? Imagine Tiora Danny, naked, Everest, fighting. God, it's a PayPal event. But yeah, look, it's whether I think it's going to last, I don't know. I think it might be a come and go fad, but...
Yeah, I think unfortunately, or whatever, they all come and go.
Yeah.
I think, these places that are built on some kind of gimmick, which doesn't mean there's not some good stuff in there, but yeah, if their main shtick is a gimmick, i.e. it takes only 45 minutes.
Yep.
Like if you lead with that, or if you lead with this special room that is designed to do this, then it's like you're kind of relying on that gimmick.
Yeah.
I
mean, look, the shake weighty was pretty popular once as well. You know the shake weighty? You hold it and it shakes. It looks like you're jerking off a ghost.
No.
Oh, it's great. And then you had the ab doer, the ab swing. I mean, a bit like equipment. There are workout places that will come and go as quickly as the next big workout machine. But, again, it's all about the fundamentals. I mean, Arnie was onto it. Arnie knew you just eat big, lift big, get big. And I think that, the places that will persevere no matter what new trend comes in are built on those kind of basic principles of the human body.
I don't want to hear ever again that you're going to somewhere like Orange Theory. Because you should know better.
I know.
I'm kind of like, why did you do that for?
Look, just trying something new, man. I know.
But I totally agree with you, Paul. But I also feel it also pleases me to know that he can train with us and get to a point of self-awareness and understanding of how to move, that he could go to a place like that and it not bust him up like it does most people. Like you could make the best of F45.
Yep.
Because you know how to move.
Yep.
Versus someone that doesn't really know how to move very well, goes there, doesn't get any coaching, ends up just moving worse, but burning calories.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've definitely been to other locations, other HIIT classes, and been uncomfortable by looking around the room and just seeing a room full of people
fucking
jerking their body, like picking up things with like their spines like curved. And I'm like, oh God, I can't go here. And it's I could go here fine because I know you guys taught me how to move. You taught me how to lift. And I'm fine, but I'm getting so uncomfortable looking around the room going, yeah, just put that down. Like, oh, God, I can see you. Like, your bulging disc is causing me grief right now. Like, I can see, like, you are herniating your body right now. Just stop. And, I mean, the trainers are just like young people who are just designed to tell you what to do, not how to do it. But, yeah, I mean, it's... the curse of knowledge, guys. This is what you did to me.
How old are you now?
36.
Oh, my guy. So tell me this: being in the media, you know, you're an events guy.
Yep.
The MC, the party dude. I'm guessing like being out there socializing, late nights, parties.
Yep.
Still very much on the cards for you.
Yep.
How do you manage that and the freelance kind of life you live? But then also staying fit and keeping some kind of consistency around that?
I mean, I generally just make sure that I've booked in a class. Like if I'm going to do air locker or something, I book in the night before. There's this thing, so I've got this drunk version of myself called Donnie. So Donnie thinks it's awesome. Donnie thinks it's hilarious to book me into really early training sessions when he's around. So it's like, you know, drunk Danny's like, oh, man, I'm going to set an alarm. I'm going to book him in. And then I'll wake up and I'm like, oh, God, what time is it? Oh, gee, oh, no. Oh, I've got to train. Oh, drunk Danny, I hate that guy. And I'll turn up feeling rat shit and like just forcing myself to get there. But, you know, like sometimes it's hard to find a balance because like I'll have DJ sets till 2, 3 in the morning and then still find a way to get to a morning class, but
what, like 6, 7 a.m. type vibe?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. But like sometimes, you know, 9. But for the most part, you know, I've got friends who will swim no matter what. And it's like those kind of exercises are a little bit less dangerous when you're a little bit hungover. You know, doing a bay swim, North Bondi to South Bondi. Or sometimes we swim to Bronte and back, so that's cool.
That's pretty hackers.
Oh, it's crazy. It's like 4Ks, 5Ks,
Yeah.
5Ks.
But to jump in the water, not necessarily swim that distance, but to get in the water when you're hungover and underslept is much easier than go and lift weights and get your heart rate up.
Definitely. Sometimes swimming becomes like you get into this, it's almost like a pattern, and it's just like this flow, this state of flow where you completely detach from your body and like it's like you're in the womb, and so your muscles are doing the work, and you get into this rhythm. But it just you kind of just drift off into your own brain, and it's quite nice. It's like a hypnotic state, and that's fun. But
do you find that managing it, like say in that way where so you just plug in a class like whenever it's like, oh, what am I doing this week? Like so it's kind of random.
Yep.
You know, to a point. Does that get harder to do, like to manage yourself in that way? Is that harder for you these days than it was, say, when you were 26, or no difference?
I mean, look, it's pretty easy to, when I do those kind of classes, I'll describe it as like the fast food McDonald's of training. So when I came here, it involved a lot of mental growth. I had to think about what I was doing. I had to, you know, you guys show me the way, but it involved it was work. Mentally, it took work, but I'd come here and I'd do the work and I'd grow mentally and physically, obviously. I think that those other group training, those HIT FM institutions are almost like the lazy person's fitness. I know that sounds bizarre, but like I'll like book in for one of those 45-minute classes and I'll turn up and I'll just do what the screen tells me what to do. And, you know, yeah, I'll burn through calories, but in the end of the day, it's like, it's not really going to make me achieve massive results, but it's just the fast food of fitness. And, you know, it's much more rewarding coming to a place like this. You know, you watch the numbers go up, you achieve goals, you know, these incredible milestones were achieved here, and that's great. But sometimes, you know, for someone who's got a busy life, sometimes it's like, all right, I'm just going to do this fast food version of fitness for now. And then when I've got something I'm training for or something's important, then I'll go back into serious training. It's ticking the fitness and health box, but in a pretty unsatisfying way, I'll admit. But it's better than nothing,
Yeah, I totally agree with that. For sure, like we're really aware that the way we do things here is not the easiest place to come and train, because we force you to think and we force you to do things that you're not good at, and all of that takes energy. So yeah, there can be something nice about just doing, like, I think you see it a lot with people who play sports, like, oh, I just play soccer a couple times a week.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have to think about it. You just run out in the field and have a good time.
Yeah.
And I think surfing is that for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, those gyms kind of offer that to an extent.
But
I can see I can see that as well, but I'm still unsatisfied over here. As you said, it's somewhat unsatisfying for me to hear that.
You notice Paul's changed?
Old
Paul wouldn't have cared.
No, he's got his arms crossed. He's
an
staring at
authority
me
on
with
this
his
shit
judgment
now.
eyes. I'm like, man, I feel like I let you down.
Yeah.
Eating all that fast food.
Yeah. He's like, these fucking Bondi guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, now, can you come down here once a week or something like that?
Yeah. Okay.
No,
I'm serious. I'll come.
Yeah, like come and at least lift some weights consistently on one session a week, and then you can do whatever else.
All right, let's do it.
All right, giddy up. Done.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay, wicked.
All right. That's on air.
I feel more satisfied now.
Yeah.
But, well, when you walk in.
Yeah,
then
relax. Yeah, now relax. Take a breath.
Take a deep breath.
Only because I love you.
I was about to eat you.
Right, look, I'm still going to have my fast food fitness.
Yeah.
That's okay. You eat your veggies once a week.
But I'm gonna have my veggies.
Yeah.
My veggie fitness.
We're 36. We're moving on to whatever, but some more long-term habits that are good for you in the long run.
I'm gonna have the poke bowl fitness. Big fresh salmon fitness, which is here. I actually don't even know, like big slow cook.
Yeah, okay.
Slow cook steak here.
Yeah, that works.
Fitness.
Yep.
So that's.
I tend not to slow cook steaks, but yeah, we can go with it.
Okay, cool. But
good to see your culinary skills have increased since we last saw you.
Look, I'm definitely beating this analogy to the very death, but you understand what I'm saying, which is all that matters. But yes, all right, once a week.
Well, how's that for serendipity? Steal your word from earlier, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
We've missed having you around, bro. Every time you've always been involved in our stuff. Even after you left the gym, you turned up at those JB games randomly. I can't remember how that came about. But you DJ'd our Christmas party for us.
Yeah, that's right.
That was fucking sick.
That was fun.
That was actually, remember at, what is it, Cafe Lounge?
Yeah, that's right.
That was a really cool Christmas party, I thought.
That was so good.
And I remember I knew
So
exactly
drunk.
how to make Joe really, really happy. And it was just like play all this like 90s hip hop. And see him light up. I remember playing
I was like, where's my black friends at, Paul? You hear this shit?
I think I remember playing Bug Powder Dust, which is a pretty obscure hip hop track. And I remember like looking up to see if I could see Joey, and he was at the other end of the room. I could see him go, yes! I'm like, yeah.
I remember I lost like 2 hours in the middle of that night.
Yeah.
Just in the sweaty dance floor. And what happened?
Yeah.
Good party.
Yeah, it was good. It just had that. It was tight enough that it forced everyone in there.
Yep.
It's a bit cramped.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it was good.
These moments will live on. Bro, thank you so much for fucking chatting with us today.
It's been an absolute pleasure to see both of your faces and your incredible physiques. Look at you. You ripped absolute behemoths. It's been a pleasure chatting.
Well, brother, I look forward to seeing you strap on another 5 to 10 kilos of lean mass
Do it, baby.
in the coming months.
I'm back. Yeah.
That's the coolest shit ever.
Yeah, just rehab my shoulder first. Thanks, mate.
From the bike accident?
Yeah.
All right, we'll start with that.
Sweet.
You book him in for next week.
I will. After this, we're going straight to the calendars.
Got anything you need to plug?
No. No, I've spent my entire life plugging stuff. I'm good.
It's a day off.
Day off of plugging.
Sick.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening, guys. If you enjoyed that one, go find Danny on social media and tell him about it. Hassle the shit out of him. Send him messages. Try and get his phone number. Send him a text message when he's out in the surf. That's what we'd really appreciate.
He might push you.
Or wrestle you naked on top of Everest. We'll see you next week.